Hey everyone, welcome to the first video in this series where we will be playing City Skylines, building our first city together. Really want to thank you for checking out my channel, and I really look forward to growing this city and this channel with you. A little bit about me. I'm an accountant by trade. My real passion lies in playing and enjoying video games, to be honest. For me, it's a bit more than just a hobby. Play video games pretty religiously outside of work. My family plays video games. My wife and I met playing video games. Um, we're just an all-around gamer family. I've played city builders since first SimCity on Nintendo, all the way now to City Skylines, which I find to be probably the best iteration of the city builder out there. Um, I have just over 1,600 hours in this game, and though I expect that number, hopefully to grow alongside this channel and you guys. So for this first episode, a little housekeeping up front. This is going to be a heavily modded city. We have quite a few number of assets and mods from the workshop. Each one's really going to help us kind of grow and detail this city. A couple of key mods being used in this episode. We have the 81 tiles mod, giving us the full map to build on. We have the realistic population mod. This will allow us to kind of spread out into larger suburbs and giving those high density areas that much more of a dense feel to them. We also have the theme manager mod to go along with some of the assets that we've downloaded. I've already put together a couple of themes that I'll use throughout this build. And then finally we have the Move It mod, which for me is really an essential essential mod in any playthrough. It's really useful in just making sure that everything looks more organic, looks more natural. The map we're using today, you can see here, is called Klein County. It was created by Ginseng. You can find that on the workshop. And I really like the look of this map. If we scroll out here, we have a lot of kind of flat areas to really build and expand with. But it also gives us these mountainous areas, which there's a lot of opportunity there, little valleys that we can dive into and build up in. And then one of the things that I really like about this map is this built-in dam feature. Now, I'm not a fan of the fact that it actually provides electricity, so we'll use that initially, but we'll really dive into building our own custom power plants. I'm not really a fan of the stock one, so we'll use this one to kind of get us going, but we'll transition away from that fairly quickly in the series. The base map theme for this map is the Boreal map, but we'll be using the Colorado Rockies version 1.0. It's a much more realistic theme than Boreal, and it really adds to kind of the visual aesthetic of the map. Makes the mountains look more mountainy, makes the trees look better. I just really feel like the coastline and everything else, this whole map just looks really good under this theme. So without the 81 tiles mod, this would be the area that we would start in. With the 81 tiles mod, we're still going to start in this area, but we would have, any number of little interchanges over here that we could use to kind of get us going. But, with all that said, I'm really excited to get into this build, really excited to do this with you guys. And so, let's get into it. To begin with, let's come down here. And let's see, we've got a 6-lane road here, so we're going to have to start by building our normal 2-lane road to kind of give us access to this point. And I'm thinking, really would like to have kind of a, city center here. We've got kind of this outcropping here, but I think I'd like to kind of put like a downtown area over here. So we'll eventually get over there, and then I think it's just makes sense that these two 6-lane roads would eventually meet up. So let's just go ahead and get our first road built, kind of unlock access to our roadways here. We do not have this particular roadway available to us until we get to 4,800 people. So I think what we're going to do, just kind of to begin with, is come up here and we're going to grab this 6-lane road, and we're just going to bring this. We're just going to bring this all the way down to about here, and we'll kind of come in and let's start kind of building in this area, and we'll eventually increase the density and kind of grow this area. So because of where this is, we have the highway over there, we have the train track running here, but I think eventually we might want this to cross over. So we'll bring this down. We're not going to encroach on the sand, so we'll bring it down to about there. And then we will come up here and have these connect. You know, just by bringing it straight over, just like that. Now we'll eventually fix this bridge and that kind of dip there. I think it should be more flush, more straight across. But in the meantime, that kind of gives us a starting point here. So we're going to grab this. We're going to come out at 11, and we'll come over. We'll turn off my road guidelines. We'll come over, say, 20 units, and we'll just do this all the way down here. Now, I think, with this, we'll do the same thing here. But as I'm looking at this, I don't really want to kind of grid into it. Grids don't really create kind of that like smooth transition into the shoreline. So I think what we'll do is we'll use our curved road tool, and we'll try and follow this coastline as best we can. It's not going to be perfect, but that's what gives the city a little bit of character here. Let's see, bring it there, bring it there, and then I think we'll just connect in. Right there's good. All right, so continue to build out our roads here, and I think we'll just continue our little grid, because eventually it will end itself. We're going to turn off road bending, turn on anarchy. We'll connect there. How's that look? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Doesn't look like there's too much clipping or anything like that. I want to kind of keep the number of connections to that outside road as little as possible. I think it'll help kind of look better that way. Bring you in. And we can connect you there. I want to try and keep the 90s as well. I'll bring you in. You can come there. Bring that there. All right, so now we can go ahead and start connecting down here. So if we connect there, we're slowly making our way to having access to creating another grid here. So like right there. It's a perfect example of that. So we'll bring that over, bring that there, bring that up, and we'll just continue to bring these down into here. Now for here, that one's going to be about there, and we'll kind of leave those little like odd shapes. I think that'll give us room for schools or parks or kind of anything else like that. So now that we have that, taking a look here, let's see. I think that's a good start. So we'll go ahead and get some zoning in. Do I have, let's see, 950 to get my themes. All right. So I've already kind of set up some themes for, kind of a smaller, more traditional Midwest kind of American look to like the houses and the businesses. Downloaded some building assets, so we'll eventually get into using those. For the time being, though, we'll go ahead and populate these little areas here for some commercial. I think I want to get rid of you and you. Everything else looks okay. And we'll bring commercial all the way down to the end here. Now, I'm going to leave this middle section open because, like I said, I eventually want to take that bridge across the river, across the bay, whatever you want to call it. Probably more of a bay. And then we'll fill in some residential behind it here, just to kind of get us going. Let's take out those pesky little 1 blocks. I don't really like those. I don't like the way the houses look. I don't like the way it makes the city look. Alright, so now let's speed this up a little bit. While that's building out, we have some power we can run from over here over along to that. So let's do, come on. Oh, I don't have that power line available to me. That's okay. Take this one, and we're just going to run it all along here, all the way down. Oh, it doesn't like that. Alright, so we'll start here. We're actually going to turn collision off. We'll kind of make our own little pathway. I didn't realize it was off center. So that gives us our power lines. I really like the look of these power lines. These are a little more rural, a little more small town. So now that we have those, let's come here, and I think I want to turn off grid real quick. So I want to put it right there, and we'll connect it across. That'll give us power, and now we need to worry about water. So for water, I don't really like the base game's pumps and sewage. I'd like to have something a little more eco-friendly, maybe, or at least a little more, looks a little bit better. So one of the things in the town where I grew up and where I live is that there's a dedicated water park to the waterworks. So I think we need to start looking at that, and I'm thinking maybe like right along here where it can have access to this river, which is a river's booking, isn't it? Maybe it's just the way the water and the terrain look, but it definitely looks like it's moving pretty rapidly. So we're going to come over here, and again, I wanted to fix this. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to come over here. We'll find out where it kind of drops down. We have move it, so we're going to bring that here, here, here. We're going to grab all of our nodes all the way up to the one that doesn't look right. We're going to slope that just like that. So that's going to give us a fairly straight slope. Then we can come over here, grab our roadways, and we're going to upgrade this one to raised. We're going to upgrade this one to raised. And I think we'll go one more. There we go, and we'll do one more there. Alright, so that kind of gives us our raised slope. Makes that bridge look a little more realistic, right? Because it's a little flatter, kind of the way I would expect it to be. So let's come back to our water here. Actually, first, let's grab our roadway. Let's go back here, grab our roads. And we have a node issue, so let's go ahead and take care of that. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Now we'll go back to our road. Oh, that messed up our zoning. All right, so see if we can fix that while we're here before we have an issue with that. No? Oh, you know what I wondered? No, it's not related. It's not related to the power lines. Well, I messed something up with the node. That's okay. We can worry about that later. For the time being, we're not going to be building right there. So I think a good place to kind of pull this off, if we look, it's going to be just right at the cusp of that hill. And we're just going to bring this road kind of straight out. Oh, I forgot to turn off collision, which means I'm going to have houses with trees in them. Okay. Well, when they upgrade eventually, those will go away. So, let's go ahead and just get rid of these. Like that. Got everything. Get rid of the ones kind of close to the road too, just so they don't cause any issues. Now I think we're just going to bring this straight down to the center of here. And now let's go back into our water. So, first thing we need is some form of water pump. We have a large pumping station. So I think we'll go ahead and set that right here, where it's kind of near the water. That'll give us water that we can then bring all the way down into town. And then we'll add some power to it. Again, using our fun little collision-proof power lines. We're going to pause for this because of the collision issue. And we'll bring that right down there. So, that now gives us plenty of water availability. Now we just need to get rid of our water, our sewage water. So I think for that, something like this, let's turn that off so we can see what this looks like. I think something like that looks, and I left collision on again. All right, so let's move that, and then we'll move that again. There we go. So now we can come in here, grab our water pipes, turn our overview back on, bring that in. We've got power and we've got water. So now we just need to get the water throughout our city. Our little town here. I think as we do this, it's going to start to grow fairly quickly. People will begin to be happy to have the ability to drink clean water, flush their toilets. You know, the nice things to have in life. So let's get finish getting our water here. We'll come along the edge there a little bit later as we start developing that. Bring that all the way up. These across. Bring that all the way up. And bring this one across. That one all the way up. And that gives us pretty good water coverage. So our next kind of upgrade comes at 480 people. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up here till we get to our 480 people. kind of see what that looks like. Hopefully we should hit that pretty quickly, and I'll be right back with you. All right, so we've hit our first milestone. Little Hamlet. Now what this unlocks access to is medical care, trash, and schools. And specifically for me, it's the schools and the medical care. The trash we'll deal with a little bit later. We'll start with maybe a landfill, maybe something like recycling. But the schools are really what interest me. So, you know, in a small little community of 400, you know, they would probably likely be bused to a different school district normally. But in this case, you know, we don't have access to that in the game, so we need to develop our own school. So, in looking at this, I'm thinking, you know, it's really kind of easy to build schools in grids, a little harder to do it along like curved roads. But I think for the purpose of this city, for what we're trying to build, we're going to kind of co-op this space and turn this space into our new school area. So we have a number of different little school assets available to us that I've downloaded. And I think one of the ones I'm going to start with is, we'll start with this Hayes Elementary School. I really like the look of this. It's got a very, very clean aesthetic to it. If you go out and look, you know, it's kind of right there. But, you know, schools usually have a little bit more to them than just, you know, being connected, bumped up right against the road. Some schools do bump up against the road, and then the buses pull up out front. But some schools have their own little driveway or parking lot or anything like that. I think we want to give that to this school. So that's going to be where we're going to put it. But for the time being, we need to come in here and we're going to give it a little one-way road. But I don't want parking on this one-way road. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do this one way here. And, you know, we want the buses to be able to kind of follow the flow of traffic. We don't really want them to have to cross traffic here. So we're going to come in, we're going to turn on our road guidelines. We're going to grab our curved road tool. We're going to grab this, and we're going to kind of come and follow the way this roadway works. So then from there, we'll bring our straight one in. We'll put that there. And this would be kind of awkward, right? So that's a pretty sizable turn right there, along with some terrain gradient issues. So I don't think we're going to necessarily do that. I think what we're going to do is we're actually just going to come in off of that. That allows the traffic to keep going, but the buses to come in, and then we can move our school kind of back into place. So now we've got a place for the buses to be able to go in, drop off the kids, come back out. But we also have this entrance back here. And one of the things I think is really cool about the assets in this game and the mods that come with it is the parking lot roads. So before we place like our drives or our maintenance roads, I think we're just going to come in here. We're just going to draw in our parking lot. And then I want to set this to the height of the school. And then we can bring our drives straight down. And you know what? The slope of that's really steep. You're gonna really mess up your car doing that. So let's rethink that. So with the roads kind of working the way they're working, maybe what we do, bring that back up to ground level. let's bring this. Let's turn off our road guidelines. And let's bring this. And we're just going to kind of follow the natural look of that little gap right there. And then bring in our drive here. Oh, you're not going to go straight, are you? Well, we'll make you go straight. And then this one can actually just come out like that. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit more room for parking there. And give ourselves a little bit more room for parking there. And I think overall, I mean, that looks pretty good. You know, granted, it's a little bit of a bump there, but that's okay. Roads aren't perfect. And same there. There's a little bit of a bump there. But that gives us a place for people to park. So, come in here, grab our parking lot. And since we're over by the main door there, I think what we'll do is we'll put that there. And we'll come in, grab a couple of these. And bring you there and there. There. And then what I'd like to do is put in some handicap parking kind of here. And then we'll just carry this across and put our one spot there. And we'll grab our 4x1, 1x1, and we'll need to reposition this so it lines up. We grab our individual parking spots. Now I think that looks pretty good. So we do need to see if I have access to it yet. I don't think I do. I do not. So don't have access to the path yet. I'd like to just run a path kind of from here to the back of the school and from here over. In the meantime, we do have access to our painter. And I'm not a huge fan of the fact that it messes with the roadways, but I think a little bit of that will be fine. Because that'll just give us kind of our path up to the school from where everything sits. So, and that's fine for that to walk there. We'll get rid of that tree. So now we have a nice little school for our kiddos to attend. In the meantime, let's go ahead and we need to get it some power. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And now our power is connected and our school is functional. So in looking at this, this is kind of the center hub of the town. Looking at our kind of terrain here, we're really kind of butting up into this area here. And I don't really want to come through and level the whole area for the sake of this, at least not yet. Maybe later we might consider doing that. But thinking that, you know, maybe right here at least, you know, there's a little bit of a hill. I think, you know, we can eventually grade that and maybe turn that into like our city services area. So for the time being though, we need to get some medical taken care of. And I'm really thinking that as a small town, you know, it's going to start with kind of just a little, you know, family doctor, family medicine, you know, and there's a good spot for it there, kind of at that corner. You know, it's able to, let's kind of, tell you what, let's move that back a bit so it's not so on top of the power pole. We'll bring that, say there, and we'll slide it over just a hair. I think we can bring it up, kind of knock out some of that terrain, little terrain issue we have right there. But, you know, just a little family medicine clinic. that'll really help. You know, what's that say? Sage Creek. Yeah, so that gives us our medical. And so we've kind of covered some of the new city services. Now, one of the things that hasn't happened, and this is because there's only one family per household here, or one household per residential building, is that we haven't really run into any trash issues yet. And so until we start to see that, I think I'm going to kind of hold off on that. As you can see, we're still losing money. And when you look at kind of what we have, you know, this simple landfill is pretty neat. It's fairly large, but if you look at the capacity, it's about the same as the base one. And I think it's just a little nicer, you know, of an asset, because it really is just a basic, you know, dumping ground for the trash of the city. Although saying that, we do have a trash issue here, so maybe it is time to go ahead and get that in now. Trash, people typically don't like their trash, you know, right up next door to them. So this area actually looks pretty nice. We'll bring it out here. Just got a power station, transformer station. So I think if we come out here, we grab our roads and go back to here, and we'll just kind of run, say, a road like so. Oops. Let's get that to the right kind of road. And then let's see if we can grab our road guidelines, connect around there, grab our road guidelines, connect around there, and then we can go ahead and put our dump. And we'll put it on, no, we'll put it on, yeah, we'll put it on the inside. There we go. So now we have, and it's connected to that power, so now we have our trash service and our dump, kind of away from the city, but still with access to the city. So overall, I think this is a pretty good little start for our city. Let's go ahead and finish filling in our residential here. We're not going to put any residential around the school. I think having some residential, you know, along these areas is perfectly fine. Let's see. Nope, don't want that one. We'll do this one, but we'll get rid of that square. And then we'll just continue along here and filling in and meeting our residential demand. So for here, we want to kind of get rid of these one-off little squares. So I think that's a pretty good start to our little town. I think next step will be to kind of build out into this area here. So let's see, what do we need to get to the next milestone? 950, and in 950 we actually get to purchase a new area, but that doesn't matter for us since we're using the 81 tiles mod. But it does give us police and fire, and gives us, interesting, it just gives us that one park. So, but it does give us our districts. So I think while we're waiting on that to happen, let's just come in here, grab our roadways, and again, you know, very fond of the grid. I think we're just going to continue out. Interesting. Terrain's going to be an issue there, at least for those. But that's okay. I think that's actually because of the power lines that we used. So when we replace those, we should be okay. So we'll bring this out. And we'll just kind of keep going with our look. So, yeah, I think you can kind of see, you know, very much a grid-based city here. And again, the city's going to be fairly large, just owing to the fact that, you know, there's the realistic population mod really does have a tangible effect on the size of the city. You know, it really greatly expands the size of the city. You know, because suddenly your low density no longer provides the kind of population that you would normally come to expect from a city of that size, which is a little unfortunate that the game has some limitations built into it that impair its ability to handle a significantly larger city. But I think for the most part, you know, what we've got here is fairly nice and fairly nice start to what we're trying to do. So one of the things we did over here was we ran that road. I'd actually like to continue that, so I'm gonna back off here these roads until I see kind of what that looks like. So if we come back in here, I think we'll actually do a curved road here. So if we go up, turn off our road guidelines. We're gonna go up 6 and 6. And then we can start curving off of that and kind of, you know, following our terrain and our coast, kind of give us the best possible looking city with what we have available to us. So I think for the time being, we'll kind of stop there, let that kind of terminate at that point, and then we'll go back here and finish up our roadways here. So looks like we can still make this grid, but I think from here we just come straight into our roadway. For here, we'll kind of come in like so, kind of fill in that space a little, and same over here. We'll just kind of come right up to the back of that. So I think that's a good expansion to our city while we're waiting on reaching our population milestone. Let's see. We need some water. So we'll go ahead and run our water pipes. All the way up. And we'll run that to there. We'll just kind of run each of these all the way up to where they need to go. So takes care of the water need for that area. And then I think what we'll do is let's take a look here and see. We're really not filling in as much, but you can see we have some industrial demand. So kind of looking at this space over here as a potential solution to that. So let's come in here, grab our 6 lane, and we're just going to continue this around, and we're going to pull it out there, but we're going to turn off collision. We're going to pause because that's going to affect the rest of the game. And then let's get rid of the trees in the road here and see what we're looking at. So it looks like we've got some foliage going on here. Let's see. I think that was just moss built around that rock. So this gives us a good spot for our industrial because we kind of pin off over here and it all feeds right into the interstate here. So let's come in, let's grab our roadway. And I think for industrial, I like to kind of control the flow of traffic a little bit more. I think it helps with the issues of traffic coming and going, try and prevent that kind of overlap. So we're going to start here. We'll go out our normal. We'll come over, we'll go 5. And then we're just going to bring this up to here. And then we'll curve this. We'll curve this back around. Let's see if I have a guideline there. I do. Perfect. So then we can curve that to there. Now within this, we can build, you know, the roadways however we need to. It was just trying to control the flow of traffic. And actually, I saw something I didn't like when I built this. So we'll come back. I want to turn off road guidelines for this. So from here, I mean, I really think it's fine that there's a certain level of ability for the industry to develop a little more naturally. So we bring this out. But what this does is this, whoops. What this does is this allows us to kind of control the flow of traffic, right? So traffic will come in there and go out there. I'm considered reversing it, letting traffic loop all the way around so that we don't have crossing here. We may still do that, but I think at this point, oh, darn it. I think at this point it's fine as it is. There we go. Just like that. So that gives us our industry. So we can, let's go back to my roadways, turn back on collision, and then we can unpause. So now we just need to bring our water lines all the way over so that we have water for this area. And this may also be where we build our first power plant, first more custom power plant. Something probably a little overpowered for the game, but still fun to build. And something that's not just that standard stock ugly coal power plant to get us going. There we go. So there's water pipes in. And we'll go ahead and start getting ourselves some industry over here. And I think one of the things I want to do before I do that is I'm actually going to turn off the zoning along this road. Not that there's any specific need to do that. It just helps kind of clean up the zoning of the industry that's on the other side of it. So let's go ahead and get ourselves some industry going, and we're going to get rid of that one as well. And I don't think we're going to need much because with realistic population we tend to get a little bit more, a few more workers in each of those facilities than than we would otherwise have. Now, looking at the power situation here, looks like we're going to need to run some power lines over to there. So if we grab, let's go ahead and pause this and turn off our collision. We're going to grab a power line there to there. And then we're going to grab, just for the sake of making it look better, grab power line from there to there. No. So let's see. It's not going to cooperate because of that, but we can kind of force a little bit of cooperation out of this. So if we bring that one to there, we'll bring that one to there. We can then bring that one there, and that'll connect. So even though the poles run through, they at least look like they're part of the roadway here. Then we'll cut across and turn off our grid. And we're just going to run right to there. So then as this develops, the power will connect to these zones here. So something else I noticed in the city while we're waiting, which we're pretty close, is we have any number of traffic lights, and I don't think, I mean, it doesn't really have much of a bearing now, but it will have a bearing later. So I think, you know, we're good to go ahead and just kind of turn off these traffic lights. Now what I will do is I'll leave the one traffic stop in a small town that you always have. We'll leave that one alone. But we'll turn off kind of the rest of these here. So kind of turns off that, helps free up traffic flow a little bit. And then I think from this point, we're getting really close to our population goal. I should hit it here in any minute now. Come on. Maybe, oh, really? One short? All right, so we'll hit it the next tick. And there we are, Worthy Village. So now we have our police department and our fire departments. So we still don't have, we got to get up to 1400 in order to unlock our landscaping to put it there. But as when we redo this kind of area and turn this into like the high density downtown, I think that'll be when we can come over here and get rid of, you know, kind of level that terrain a little bit. So we have fire services, and I think one of the assets I want to use, is it this one? Yeah, this is just a small little fire station. You know, nothing major, but it does the job and does it well. And I think, see, if I put it there, we're gonna run into some issues. But I think what we're gonna do before we do that is come back down here to our power lines, and we're just gonna run, let's see, run it. Oh, let's put in some residential. Let's zone some residential over here just to get our power connection, so we can get rid of that power line and free up that space for zoning. I really do think we'd want the commercial kind of along that corridor. So let's see here. Do we get anybody building? Maybe. Do we have any? Well, we've still got some over here that's kind of filling in. So eventually this will fill in and give us what we're looking for. In the meantime, because we need fire and we don't have any, We've got lots of things burning, so let's go ahead and pause this real quick, and let's get our fire station placed. And I think, for the time being, we'll just plop it right there. And then for our police, police station in my hometown, police station was also known as City Hall. So it was kind of the focal point of the town. So I think for us, since we put the fire station there, I'd like to have the police station close by. So we'll put the police station there. That'll give us the police department. We'll have our fire department, and they can take care of these little fires that we have going on right now. But this really does focus as kind of the city hall for my hometown. Oh, it looks like we've got some spreading fires. The trees will have to burn out. We don't have helicopters yet, or disaster response. So the trees will have to kind of burn themselves out. Hopefully they don't keep catching the buildings on fire. Let's see. How's our industry doing over here? Yep. We've managed to build up, connect our power. And I think that's providing them with what they're after. The kind of jobs that they're needing or wanting. And then kind of wait until we can get this spot done here. Let's see. Everything else is filled in pretty well. Yep, we got I think what our last folks there. Let's see. There we go. Now we've got our residential developing over here, and that gives us our connection point to there. So we'll need to fill this in. So we'll kind of drop this along here, connect our power over. Once we have our power connected, we can get rid of these power lines. And let's see. Very close. Just need one more structure over here, one more house, and I think we'll be good. Come on. Very close now. You just want to build one right here. Come on, just one. One right there. No? All right. There we go. All right, so now we can come in here and get rid of these power lines because we no longer need them. So we come back to now our zoning's there and ready for us to use. So let's go ahead and fill in our commercial zoning. We'll fill in there and there. And I think we're good to go ahead and populate the rest of this. Kind of takes care of that zoning, and we'll fill in the rest with residential. Let's go ahead and I'll pause real quick because I want to come through and clean this up a little. Before we carry on. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of those two. Let's add that in. And just kind of clean up, because I don't really want the little one square housing. We're already limiting our population size as it is. I don't really want to force the issue anymore than it already is. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of fill the rest of this in. And then we'll get rid of our little anomalies. There we go. And we'll start to let that build out. So we're getting pretty close to our next milestone. I think that sounds like a good place to kind of call it there for this episode once we get to that one. Nice thing is once we get there, once we get there, it kind of gives us our park areas, our landscaping specifically, some city policies. We'll also go ahead and at that point start doing our districts, and I'm thinking that we'll want a district here, and we'll start a district here. And I'd like to get your guys' help with names on the districts, as well as, you know, hey, there we go, tiny town, perfect. So we have all of that for the next episode. So I'd like to get your guys' help with naming those districts, as well as, you know, what do you think we should call the entire area? You know, we could call it, you know, Hilltop. We could call it, what do we got? We got one river, got the dam, you know, a couple of ideas of inspiration. So, you know, let me know your thoughts and opinions in that. When we come back, we'll add our districts in. We'll flesh out the rest of these neighborhoods, and we'll work on that next level, that next milestone that we had going for us. So thank you guys for watching. You know, if you like the video, please do feel free to leave a comment, click that subscribe button, and then ring that bell if you want to see the next episode when it comes out. Thank you guys, and have a wonderful evening.